All right, welcome back, guys. We're doing lesson 10 now, and this is going to be one of those things. We're comparing decimals still. This is going to be one of those things Miss Vincent used to say in class. I'm going to show you how to do this so you can see it and understand it, but it's not something I'm expect you to do every time or really at all. So, but I want you to be able to see it with because we use this model a lot, where we have the block of 10. We used to call it the 10 frames. They don't call that anymore. They don't call it that anymore. I think they call it the area model. But yeah, area model. But let's just look at it so we can see again why maybe the 3/10 is larger than the 1900s. Because if you say it that way, if you say 3/10 1900s, it sounds like 1900s is bigger because, well, you have 19 of them, right? But that's not the case with decimals. So decimals are a little bit different in the way you have to think about them. So let's do the 1900s. So to do that, we have to really break this into hundreds. So I'm going to turn it so I can do a little better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So now I'm going to color in 19. Let's see if it'll go back to. Sorry, just a second. I want to make sure it's there. We go. Nice and clear. All right. So we have what in the tens place? So we need 1 whole tens. And then we have what in the hundreds place? Well, 9. So we're only going to color in 9. So we're going to color in this much of this side. But for 3/10, how many 10 bars do I have to color in? 10. Or 3, I'm sorry. So 3. So which one is greater? Which one has the larger section colored in? It would be the 3/10. And that goes back to, remember I showed you that trick early, that you need to make your decimals so that they have the same number of digits in them or they're in the same place value. So you can't compare tenths and hundreds without turning this into hundreds. And an easy way to do that is to add the 0. It's just like if you add a 0 to the front of a whole number. So like if I was to write this number and I put this here, would this 0 change what number that is? No, it does not. Okay, so it does not change it. So we just pretend it's, and really those numbers are there. They're just imaginary. Okay, so that 100 is still the same number. Well, when I add a 0 to the end of my decimal number, it doesn't change the number, or it doesn't change the amount it is. It's, again, like we talked about with fractions and all that stuff. Remember, I went in, I changed my shirt, and I came back out, and I was the same person. I just had a different shirt on, right? So for reading, I had one shirt on, then I changed my shirt, and then when you guys came to math, I said, look, I'm the same person. I just have a different clothes on. So it's the same thing. It's the same number. 3/10 is the same as 30/100. It just looks different. Okay? And we need it to look different sometimes in math to help us finish our math. Okay? So they're going to get a little tricky here. So they're going to do this one to us. They're going to say 6/10. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6/10. But here it's 6/100. So I'm not even going to do my 100 lines. I'm just going to say it's a little over half of 1 bar. So I definitely know that this is greater. And again, that trick will work with this. Because would you rather have 60/100 or 6/100? Okay? Same thing works when we put a whole number in front of it, because they have the same whole number. Okay? So we're just going to look at the decimals. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Then here I have 5/10. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to go 3/100. So I definitely know that 1 8/10 is bigger. And I can still add my 0 to the end of my decimal to show that it's a little bit bigger. Okay? Enough of that. I hope that helped you understand comparing decimals a little better using area form. All right, now, this one we're going to do only because this will help you with fractions as well. I believe there's some of this in your work you're going to actually have to do. And I think today, lesson 10 and at lesson 11. So let's look at how this works, though. All right, so every number line is slightly different, especially now that we're older. Remember, we don't have to start with 0 because we know that lines continue forever. Okay, we have 7, and then we have 7 and 1/10, or 7.1. So in between here is our hundredths. Okay, so that's how we're going to know our hundredths. And then, and you can see it goes all the way up to 7.3. So we have 7 and 2/10. So I'm going to say 7 and 1/10. Then I'm going to drop to 7 and 2/10. So that's where this one's going to go. But what about 7 and 2/100? Do you remember where I said the hundredths lines were? Okay, if you said between 7 and 7/10, you're correct. So all I have to do is count my spaces, not my lines, because if I count this line, it's not a space. So 1, 2. So that's going to be your 7 and 2/100, and this is going to be your 7 and 2/10. So which one is greater? Well, 7 and 2/10 is greater. So let's go down here. We have 18 and 19/100. So 18 and 19/100. See how I said that with the decimal? 18 and 19/100. Very good. 18 and 3/10. So let's go ahead and do this one because this is the simple one. So let's go 18.2. Oh, and they didn't even start on 18. So that's 18 and 1/10, 18 and 2/10, 18 and 3/10. What do I do with my 18 and 19/100? Well, I start with 18.1, right? Because I have my 18 and my 1/10. And then I count how many spaces. Very good. I count 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. And which one's greater? There we go. Awesome. Now we're going to try to do that without their help of the pictures and the labels. Now remember, unless the directions explicitly say it, or Miss Vincent explicitly says it, you do not have to draw a model, do a number line, or anything. Okay? So let's see what the directions say. What do the directions say here? They say use the symbols to complete, or to compare, I'm sorry. So do I have to draw anything if I don't need to? No. If I need to, I will. Okay? So let's just go number by number. And this is how you're really going to compare numbers. All those pictures help you understand the comparison. But when you actually go and do higher math in 5th and 6th and 7th grade, you're going to eventually just be able to look at these decimals and numbers and fractions and just compare them using your different techniques, strategies, or hints that your teacher's given you in the past. So let's go with our going digit by digit. So we have the ones are the same. Then the tenths, 6/10 versus 5/10. Would you rather have 6/10 or 5/10? Well, especially if it's brownies, I want 6/10. Okay. Let's go here. We've got 6 ones. Those are the same. Then we have 3/10 and 7/10. Very good. We're going to go with the 7/10. All right, I want you to do C and D on your own. Hit pause. Do those on that piece of paper that you have there, and then come back when you're done. Very good. So I hope that you were very astute and you saw that the 7 or the 9 and the 7 are different. And I would rather have 9 of something typically than I would have 7 of it, right? Now this one, they tried to trick you, but I know they didn't. So we have 3 holes, which is there. Then we have no tenths, and we have 2 tenths. Would you rather have nothing or 2? I'd rather have 2, right? Now, let's look at the last 2 real quick together. So we have this one, 13.1, and that's hundredths. So you can do it 2 ways. You could add a 0, or because this 0 means nothing, we can cross it out. So we know that that is equal. And then we have 5 and 8/10, which is it greater than, we have 5 there. So we have an 8 and a 9. So we would have 9. Okay. Now, one last thing they want to try to do is they want to see if you can determine if the you're comparing them, but you're using unit form this time, which can be a little tricky. And they're also doing it so that you can't see just by looking real quick at whether you have a whole number because of the way they've written this. Okay. So let's start with, let's just start with A. So 57 tenths. 57 tenths. And 5 and 7/10. So if I draw a number, because I want to make sure that I know this right. I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure. So I'm going to do ones, tenths, put my decimal there, hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to say 57 tenths. So I'm going to put 57 tenths, just like they said. Now, I know I cannot keep those both numbers in there. So what do I have to do? What do I remember I have to do? I have to move that one over. So it's actually going to be 5 and 7 tenths, because 50 tenths would be 5 wholes, right? So then I have 5. So these are equal. Everybody see that? I'm just going to let you think about that for a second. So, okay. So next one we're going to do is 6.2, and then we have 6 ones and 2 hundredths. So I can see that the 2 tenths is bigger, okay, or greater. Then we have 33 tenths and 33 hundredths. So I'm just going to use my little board down here. I know I should have brought my whiteboard over, shouldn't I have? All right, so we have 33 tenths and 33 hundredths. So if I bring over the 3, so I have 3 and 3 tenths. And if I bring that over, I have 3 tenths. So my 33 tenths is bigger. Okay. Now, let's read this number together. We have 8 and 39 hundredths, because this is in the hundredths place, right? So and this one has 8 and 39 tenths. What do we notice about the 39 tenths versus the 39 hundredths? Well, this one is a proper fraction. This one's an improper fraction, which means this is more. This fraction is more than 1 whole. So if you did the math, you would take out 3 wholes, and you would have 11 and 9 tenths. Well, that definitely shows me that this one is greater. And you don't even have to do the math, because you would just know that's more than 1 whole. So you would know that it was more than 8. Okay? So let's look at this one here. So we have 236 hundredths. So I have 236 hundredths. What do I do with that? Well, I move my 23 first. I move it to the tenths, but I can't keep both those numbers there. So then I move the 2 to the 1. So then I have 2, 3, 6. And look at that, 2.36, and that is equal. And then last but not least, we have 3 tenths and 22 hundredths. Oops. Should just put the decimal point right here. There we go. And we know that 3 tenths is greater. So if you need help, review anything on here, or you know how to contact me. All right, thank you.